Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Giribharadhari Jaya Gopi Janna Vallabha Giribharadhari Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Panachari Jamuna Tira Panachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtotarashata Srimad His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonum, Chapter 53, Krishna kidnaps Rukmini, text number 36. Krishnan agatam akarnya Vidarbha purabashina Agatya netra janlibhi Papustam mukha pankajam Krishnan agatan akarnya Vidarbha purabashina Agatya netra janlibhi Papustam mukha pankajam Krishnan agatam akarnya Vidarbha purabashina Agatya netrakyam libhi papustam mukha pankajam. Please chant. Krishna agatam akarnyam vidarbha purabashina agatya netrakyam libhi papustam mukha pankajam. Krishna agatam akarnya vidarbha purabashina agatya netrakyam libhi papustam mukha pankajam. Krishnan agatan akarnya vidarbha purabashina agatya netrakyam libhi papustam mukha pankajam. Krishnam, Lord Krishna, agatam, come, akarnya, hearing, Vidarbha Pura, of the capital city of Vidarbha, Vashinaha, the residents, Agatya, coming, Netra, of their eyes, Agyam Libihi, with the cup palms, Papuhu, they drank, Tat, his, Mukha, face, Pankajam, lotus. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. When the residents of Vidarbhapura heard that Lord Krishna had come, they all went to see him with cup palms. With the cup palms of their eyes, they drank the honey of his lotus face. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitangena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapada Swamin Iti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyadeshatarine. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this verse. The people drank the incomparable sweetness of Krishna's lotus face. This indicates the quantity of sweetness of his face. It was wonderful because of the number of people drinking and the unlimited supply of sweetness of one face. So there's a beautiful verse that Lord Chaitanya quotes from Krishna Karnamrita of Vibhamangala Thakur, who was a great sage personality who was blind, but was very famous for his poetry and devotion to Lord Krishna. And he lived in Vrindavan, and Lord Chaitanya quoted him with this beautiful poem that describes the sweetness of Krishna's beauty. But specifically, he goes into deeper and deeper and deeper tastes of sweetness. And the refrain word that is used in this verse is madhurya or madur. Madur means sweet. So he goes, Maduram Maduram Bapur Asya Vibhor. Maduram Maduram Bandana Maduram. Madhugandhi Mridushmitan Eta Aho. Maduram 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 Maduram. So, repeating so much. And it is explained that when Lord Chaitanya quoted this verse, he entered into this ecstasy. Is during the instructions that Lord Chaitanya gave to Sanatana Goswami. And among the many instructions that he gave, he came to this part that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the chapter is described Krishna's beauty. So the sweetness of Krishna's beauty, the sweetness of Krishna's beauty. So, Srila Vibhamangala Thakur, he describes it like this, he translates as such. Oh my Lord, the transcendental body of Krishna is very sweet. And his face is even sweeter than his body. But his soft smile, which have the fragrance of honey, is sweeter still. So, the sweetness of Krishna's beauty is among all the qualities of Krishna that are complete and in full, the full manifestation of all qualities. And specifically, the acharyas and the scriptures give us that there are 6 qualities that are considered opulences. But the chief among all them is Krishna's beauty. And it's Krishna's beauty that makes him, devastatingly attractive. And the word Bhagavan is described in the scripture as he who possesses all opulence in full. So then you recognize that this is the supreme personality of God, the absolute truth. And that is truth to all the different manifestations of Krishna, the expansions of Krishna, all Vishnu Tattvas, all expansions of Krishna possesses all these qualities. So, but it's explained that Krishna, they all possess all these qualities in full, but Krishna have this extra 4 that is only present on him. And among them, those 4, the 4 are that, so it's 64 that are described. So 60 are present in all the different expansions of Lord Krishna, in the Vishnu forms. Of 4 of them, they only present in Krishna and Balaram. And one of them is that he performed childhood pastimes. Beautiful childhood pastimes. We just finished the month of Damodar in which we observe ourselves in the childhood pastimes of Krishna. And the other one is that he plays his flute. The sound that emanates from his flute is also a supreme quality that is very unique to Krishna. So much is described of the flute of Krishna and the sound. And the other one is that his intimate associates, the intimacy of his loving associates. It's an intimacy that is only possible in the association of Krishna in his own realm, Goloka Vrindavan. And the last one, the fourth one, is his exquisite, incomparable beauty. So this beauty is described over and over and over by devotees and the acharyas that are the one that a devotee who comes to that position of love can have enough. It's unlimited, the thirst for drinking the sweetness of Krishna's beauty. And so it's an unlimited capacity that the soul has. Therefore, the soul is described Ananda Maya Vyasat, that it have that nature that is goes deeper and deeper and deeper in this ecstasy of the connection with Krishna and the absorption of Krishna. Especially Krishna's beauty. And it's described here that not only that is Krishna's form, which is, so beautiful and attractive, but his face. His face is the sweetest. And within his face, his beautiful smile. And in fact, there is when we take darshan of the deities, we go from the lotus feet, and then when we come to the face, there's two things that are always the focus of attraction of the devotees. His beautiful smile and his lotus eyes. Is completely devastating. There's something very beautiful when you come to perform deity worship. And especially when you go through, Krishna Archana yesterday spoke about the 16 upachars, or the 16 offering that we make to the deities, a standard deity worship. And when you go through that practice, and you do it on a daily basis, there's something very special that happens, that you develop this intimate connection with the deity. And it's a personal experience, but you see that with all pujaris. That is something that happens to everybody. That you somehow, you start to, it's like a whole world opens in which you're able to see with such a, clarity, Krishna's beauty. And it completely takes you and it absorbs you. The specific deity that you're worshiping in a regular basis, it becomes almost part of your meditation. And you're able to see, that exquisite, beyond descriptions, beauty. And the word that always comes is sweetness. It's so sweet. So sweet. So it's something that Krishna reveals. Krishna reveals, and when we start to experience that, we experience this happiness, and we experience Krishna's sweetness. We experience what Srila Rupa Goswami described as rasa amrita. You start to experience the sweetness of the relationship that you have with Krishna. And it's all based, on the beauty, the beautiful form, the beautiful face, the beautiful smiles, the beautiful eyes. It starts to become revealed within your heart. And for many of us who are in the process of becoming purified, taking all this noise and obstacles that are part of the conditioned soul, the unwanted things in the conditioned soul's heart. When we start to take that away, what we're doing is being able to be established in a very steady absorption in the beautiful relationship with Krishna, and to be situated in a steady way in a full meditation of Krishna's beauty. As it is right now, for most of us who are in that process, Krishna gives you these opportunities to experience that, to experience His beauty. But the unwanted thing within the heart that we still have to clean doesn't allow that experience to remain steady. That experience becomes, you're experiencing in a moment and the next moment is gone. So it's almost like this taste. Krishna calls this taste parandrishta nivartante. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says that this is the higher taste. Krishna gives us a drop of this higher taste. And with that, then the desire for more naturally comes. And that's really what keeps us in devotional service, because we're able to experience this, the beauty of Krishna. Krishna gave us that experience. By our sincere endeavors and our sincere devotion and the sincerity of our heart, Krishna reveals or allows us or gives us the eyes to see that beauty. And once we taste that, then material life is finished. You can't get back to it. You can. You go back to it, but it's already spoiled. You can't enjoy it anymore, So it becomes like that. There's also a very famous verse that Srila Rupa Goswami writes in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in which he warns people, if you have too much, attachment to your regular life, and you find, that you're very fond of, your social life and your regular life and your family and love and this, all that, material, all this type of thing, just don't even think to go to the banks of the Yamuna by Kesighat and see that beautiful boy who is playing on his flute. Because if you do that, finish. The translation goes like this. It's very beautiful. Srila Rupa Goswami is, writing. My dear friend, if you're indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face. Remember the smiling face, which is the sweetest of all, of Lord Govinda, as he stands on the bank of the Yamuna at Kesighat, casting sidelong glances with his lotus eyes and all the thing that, the side glances of Lord Krishna are devastating. There's descriptions all over the 10th canto about the gopis, completely being devastated when Krishna, looks at the side like that. Casting side glances, he places his flute to his lips which seems like newly blossomed twigs. His transcendental body bending in three places appear very bright in the moonlight. So don't go there. Don't go there because your life will be finished. There is Prabhupada quotes this poem from this famous Vaishnava poet. His name is Vidyapati. Lord Chaitanya was very fond of, the poems of Vidyapati, and also of there was another one that he would like also very much. What was the name? Who does the Gita Govinda? You remember? Jayadev Goswami. Jayadev Goswami and Vidyapati. Lord Chaitanya was very fond of hearing their poems. Vidyapati, he have this very famous verse that says that enjoyment of life with offsprings, friends and women, or men, or whatever, opposite sex, vanishes like a drop of water on the burning hot sands of the sea beach. Forgetting you, I have devoted my mind in that. What is the use of my life now? So, when we try to search, when we try to fulfill this thirst for happiness, this thirst for love, when we try to find that in the material world, we find it. There's happiness. There's happiness in the material world that you're able to find in relationships, in children's, your offsprings, your family, friends. You find happiness. But the happiness is compared to a drop of water in a desert that basically evaporates in no time. So it really doesn't fulfill anything, of the desire of that happiness that we have embedded, in our nature, in our essence. Ananda Maya Vyasat, Satchit Ananda Vigraha is how we're made of. We're made of this happiness, bliss. And we're drive towards that naturally. But we can be satisfied with temporary stuff because we are sat, we are eternal. So it have to be of a spiritual nature. It have to be of eternal nature that we find happiness. So this search for happiness is found in full and with full satisfaction when we are situated in pure devotional service to the Lord. And when we're situated in that, then that experience of Krishna's beauty doesn't go away. It just stays there steady, and that's the only thing that makes up your consciousness. Nothing else. And in that absorption, the devotee basically enters into an ocean of bliss. And we were just singing Iti Drikshwali Labir Ananda Kunde. This Ananda Kunde. Ananda Kunde means, a pool of ecstasy. You just dive into a pool of ecstasy. And this ecstasy, Lord Krishna, it says, He doesn't reveal that to people who are jnanis, who study the Vedas or who cultivate transcendental knowledge, he doesn't reveal that. He doesn't or have access to that pool of ecstasy for yogis or people who perform austerities. It's not accessible. It's like in the summer, if you want to go to a pool, you have to pay a ticket, it's an entrance. There's a fence around the pool, so you have to go through the procedure. So if you want to get into this pool of ecstasy, you have to do it through devotion. And so you dive into, it's also explained, Lord Chaitanya say this. Lord Chaitanya in the Shikshastika, he described this Ananda Kunde as Ananda Vardhanam. Ananda Vardhanam means an ocean. He expanded. Lord Chaitanya makes it, not just a pool, but an ocean of bliss. So how you reach this ocean of bliss? Well, the first thing that happens is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Through the chanting of the holy name, you can get to the ocean of bliss and dive into. Once you dive into this ocean of bliss, then Purnamrita Shwananam, you start to experience this complete taste, this nectar, the nectar of Krishna's beauty. So, the first thing that happens is Cheto Darpana Marjanam, we cleanse the heart. So that's what many of us are right now, scrubbing as hard as we can to get, take all the black stuff out of the end of the pot, like that, the bottom of the pot, the burning stuff, all that thing, we're scrubbing very hard, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. After that, as we become rid of all these things, then really the miseries of material existence becomes, finished. Cheto Darpana Mahabhava Navagni Nirmapanam. The fire, the forest fire of material existence becomes extinguished. And after that, then Shreya Kairava Chandrika, that the white lotus of devotion opens within our heart. So now, it's explained that in the beginning stages of devotional service, there is a bud that manifests, the bud of a devotion. So it's in budding condition, so it hasn't opened, but you see it's there, it's a flower. But it's, it usually is like this thing, like that. And as we become advanced, then the flowers start to open until it's in full bloom. So when these lotuses start to open, then it's called the benediction moon. It is compared to this special lotus that opens, during the full moon. And Lord Chaitanya is compared to a full moon. And then full transcendental knowledge becomes now manifested in your heart. Vidya Badhu Jivanam, Vidya, knowledge manifests. And then, shum, you jump into this ocean of bliss. And as you jump, you start to taste the nectar of the ocean of bliss. And as you taste this nectar, you become fully situated in your eternal relationship with Krishna as an eternal, loving servant of Krishna. sarvatma snapanam. So the process is there, how to get into that unlimited ocean of bliss, an unlimited ocean of, and when one's that, then the meditation is just about Krishna's beauty. In the prayers of Satyavyata Muni that we just, recite every day during Kartik, Damodarastaka, he also says that, he mentions, in text number 5, Idante mukham bhojan atyanta nilar. This mukham bhojan is that he is meditating in, bhojan is like enjoyment, but mukha, he's enjoying the beautiful face. He's just drinking the sweetness of Krishna's beautiful face. He says, oh Lord, your lotus-like face is completely surrounded by very dark blue, glossy, reddish, tinged, curling hair, and is kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda. So the beautiful face of Krishna, framed by the beautiful curly hair that is glossy, and he also has tinges of red because he's being kissed again and again by Mother Yashoda. And then he goes to say, Muhu chumbitam bimba rakta daramme, that his beautiful smiling face, his lips are red like the bimba fruit, and his cheeks are also reddish because of Mother Yashoda's kisses too. So, and he goes to say, may this vision always remain from within my heart. What is the use of any other benediction, anything but that vision of Krishna's lotus face? So naturally, the inhabitants of Vidarbhapuri, when they heard of Krishna's presence, they immediately rush all to see Krishna. Now, in the same way, Srimati Rukmini Devi heard about Krishna, so the inhabitants of Vidarbhapuri heard about Krishna. And naturally, when Krishna came, they all went there. And the simile or analogy, that their eyes were, the eyes were like cupped hands, just taking and drinking the beauty of Krishna's face, like this, just taking, and they couldn't get enough of it. They were just completely absorbed. I'm going to read for you Lord Chaitanya's descriptions of Krishna's beauty to Sanatana Goswami. It's part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's in the Madhya Lila, chapter 21, I believe. No. Chapter 25. The sweetness of Krishna's beauty. So, this again was Lord Chaitanya to Srila Sanatana Goswami in his personal instructions. There's a synopsis of these instructions in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, but it's very elaborated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is from text number 102. And then Lord Chaitanya goes on. My dear Sanatana, the sweet, attractive, transcendental form of Krishna is so nice. Just try to understand it. Even a fractional understanding of Krishna's beauty can merge all the three worlds in an ocean of love. He attracts all living entities within the three worlds. See that it's such a repeated thing that the scriptures and Lord Chaitanya, that devotees, is the experience. And this is something that is given to us. And it's something that we should look forward, that is actually the standard, the expected experience, a standard experience to dive into what, it is. It is an unlimited ocean of bliss. The transcendental form of Krishna is shown to the world by Lord Krishna's internal spiritual energy, which is a transformation of pure goodness. The jewel-like form is the most confidential treasure of the devotees. This form is manifested from Krishna's eternal pastimes. We're talking here about the form of Krishna specifically, and not the form of Lord Vishnu, not the form of the avatars. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, the human-like form that is the original manifestation of the absolute truth. So, the most confidential. And that's what Krishna is revealing in the Bhagavad Gita in the 9th chapter, the most confidential. And when we dive into that, understanding that this is what is going to lead us towards, the connection to Krishna. And as followers of Lord Chaitanya, we're destined, if we follow the process properly, we're destined to be in Goloka Vrindavan. That's what is given to us. The wonderful form of Krishna and his personal feature is so great that it attracts even Krishna to taste his own association. Indeed, Krishna becomes very eager to taste it. Total beauty, knowledge, wealth, strength, fame, and renunciation are the six opulences of Krishna. He is eternally situated in his opulences. So Krishna becomes attracted. It is explained that once Krishna saw the reflection of his beautiful face in the waters of the Yamuna, and he was completely mesmerized. He became completely mesmerized. And he wanted to experience his beauty from the perspective of the devotee. And in that meditation, he turned golden as Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna in the mood of his greatest devotee, Srimati Radharani, who is golden by complexion. So Srimati Radharani is known as Gaurangi, and Lord Chaitanya is known as Gauranga. So this happened to Krishna. He becomes attracted to himself. Ornaments caress the body. Ornament caress that body. But the transcendental body of Krishna is so beautiful that it beautifies the ornaments he wears. Therefore, Krishna's body is said to be the ornament of ornaments. Enhancing the beautiful beauty of Krishna is his three curved styles of standing. Above all these beautiful features, Krishna's eyes dance and move obliquely, acting like arrows to pierce the minds of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. When the arrows succeed in hitting its target, their mind becomes agitated. Actually, it's true that the pose of Krishna is just very beautiful too. And so Shrimati Radharani also have, like a little bit of a, tree bending form too. I have that experience because, when I do the worship of little Radha and Krishna, then I have a light, to see all the details like that. And the light projects a shadow in the door. And, you see, when I'm bathing them, you see the reflection, the shadow of their form. And it's just like, you see, you see that, just the how you say, lineation? The outline of his form in the shadow is exquisite. It's just like, so attractive. It's so beautiful, Both Radha and Krishna. And they all, they have this. Srimati Radharani is like this. And Krishna, of course, is like, like that. The beauty of Krishna's body is so attractive that attracts not only the demigods and all living entities within this material world, but the personality of the spiritual sky as well, including the Narayanas, who are expansions of Krishna's personality. The mind of the Narayanas are thus attracted by the beauty of Krishna's body. In addition, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmis, who are the wife of the Narayanas and are the woman described in the Vedas as most chaste, are also attracted by the wonderful beauty of Krishna. Quote, this is Lord Chaitanya quotes a verse, I can't remember from where, it doesn't say. Favoring the gopis, Krishna rides on the chariot of their minds, and just to receive loving service from them, he attracts their minds like Cupid. Therefore, he is also called Madan Mohan, the attractor of Cupid. Cupid has 5 arrows representing form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. Krishna is the owner of these 5 arrows, and with his Cupid-like beauty, he conquers the minds of the gopis, though they are very, very proud of the super excellent beauty. Becoming a new Cupid, Krishna attracts their minds and engages in the rasa dance. Krishna's beauty, Lord Brahma compares it like, millions and millions of cupids together. He says, Venum Kwananta Naravinda Dalaya Takshan, Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundaranga. Sundar, his beauty again. Sundarangan. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shoban. So, he is compared to millions of, his beauty is so devastating that he is compared to millions and millions of cupids come together. So, yes, Krishna's beauty, the glorification of it. When Lord Krishna wanders in the forest of Vrindavan with his friends on an equal level, there are innumerable cows grazing. This is another of Lord's blissful enjoyments. When he plays on his flute, all living entities, including trees, plants, animals, and human beings, tremble and are saturated with jubilation. Tears flow constantly from their eyes. Sometimes, before we were hearing about Krishna's flute, there's a whole chapter in the Bhagavatam, we just read several months ago, on the effect that Krishna's flute has in the whole Vrindavan. And it's explained that when Krishna plays the flute, the birds that were flying above, they become stunned and they just fall to the ground. They just stop flying, they just go like, stunned by the beautiful sound and the enchanting sound of Krishna's flute, and then just fall in the ground. And everybody becomes stunned, stop. It's described that it becomes almost like a paint, with all the images, just, completely static. How do you say static? Huh? Yeah. Krishna wears a pearl necklace that appears like a chain of white herons around his neck. The peacock feather in his hair appears like a rainbow, and his yellow garments appear like lightning in the sky. Krishna appears like a newly risen cloud, and the gopis appears like a new grown grains in the field. Constant rain of nectarian pastimes fall upon these newly grown grains, and it seems that the gopis are receiving beings of life from Krishna, exactly as grains receive life from the rains. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is full of 6 opulence, including his attractive beauty, which engage him in conjugal love with the gopis. Such sweetness is the quintessence of his qualities. So the beauty of Krishna is the topmost of his qualities. Sukadev Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, has described this passage of Krishna throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam. Here in the descriptions, the devotees become mad with love of God. Just as the woman of Mathura ecstatically described the fortune of the gopis of Vrindavan and the transcendental qualities of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the different mellows of Krishna and became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. Grasping the hand of Sanatana Goswami, he recited the following verses. Quote, "What austerity must the gopis have performed! With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of the form of Lord Krishna, which is the essence of loveliness, and is not to be equal or surpassed. That lovelessness is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. It is self-perfect and ever fresh and unique." This was the ladies of Mathura when Krishna entered the arena of Kansa's, when Kansa was trying to kill Krishna. When Krishna entered that arena, the ladies of Mathura, this came from them immediately like that. They started to glorify the gopis because when they saw Krishna, they were so taken by Krishna's beauty, they couldn't imagine the fortune of the gopis that are in constant association with Krishna. The bodily beauty of Sri Krishna is like a wave in the ocean of eternal youth. And that great ocean is a whirlpool of awakening of ecstatic love. The vibration of Krishna's flute is like a whirlwind, and the flickering minds of the gopis are like the straws and dry leaves. After they fall down in the whirlwind, they never rise again but remain eternally at the lotus feet of Krishna. Oh, my dear friend, what severe austerities have the gopi performed to drink his transcendental beauty and sweetness through their eyes in complete fulfillment. Thus, they glorify their birth, bodies, and minds. The sweetness of Krishna's beauty enjoyed by the gopis is unparalleled. Nothing is equal to or greater than such ecstatic sweetness. Even the predominating deities of Vaikuntha planets, the Narayanas, do not possess such sweetness. Indeed, none of the incarnations of Krishna up to Narayan possesses such transcendental beauty. The vivid evidence in this regard is that the dearest consort of Narayan, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all chaste women, gave up everything in her desire to enjoy Krishna, being captivated by his unparalleled sweetness. Thus she took a great vow and underwent severe austerities. The quintessence of Krishna's sweet bodily luster is so perfect that there is no perfection above it. He is the immutable mind of all transcendental qualities, and his other manifestation and personal expansions, there is only a partial exhibition of such qualities. We understand all his personal expansions in these ways. Anyway, it goes on and goes on. But I like to stop here and ask if you have any questions.
Mind blowing. Mind, it's so way up there, with the subject today. But it brought to mind when I'm up on the altar, you know how you have a time limit to do everything? And I'll be concentrating on that time limit, to get everything done. But sometimes the deities, it seem like they be pulling me towards, doing what they want me to do instead of forget about the time limit. So I have to really, really concentrate on, making my time limit and not, overdoing it with the deities because they just want me to keep going on and on and on and on, So I have mastered, not letting nothing out here distract me, but I haven't mastered that yet. The deities, they're very powerful, and I'm getting used to it, but, I had one question. The Lord reveals Himself a little bit. Just give us a little taste. And like you said, diving into the ocean of bliss. That seems so far. Inconceivable for us. But you say it's possible, right? So
Yes.
could you explain a little bit more of that, how it's possible?
Well, that's just the fact that we have that experience shows that it is possible. The reason, each one of us, the reason we're here and we continue to be here is because we have received that experience. Each one of us, I assure you, have something that you felt Krishna's reciprocation in the form of appreciating Krishna's beauty and the sweetness of Krishna's relationship. So that is there, it means, you have the potential to have that, and especially when we start to cultivate transcendental knowledge, that, you come to understand that that is our state of being. That's who we are. That the reason we are not able to experience that in an uninterrupted manner is because there is things that are covering and blocking. That's all. So then you understand, so what I really have to do is just eliminate that stuff in order to be able to uncover that, essential qualities of the soul. So it's there. I always remember my Guru Maharaj telling me, as a new devotee, I'm telling him of experience that I had in which, during a Harinam, I was out with Indra Prabhu, and it was my service in the beginning as a new bhakta. And I all of a sudden, and I was a performer, a musician. I always found happiness in performing music. But the experience that I had that day in the Harinam was so incredible that that it just completely took me by surprise. And it was, it was more like a sense of happiness and satisfaction that I don't know how to explain it, but just like that. The world went blank for a moment, and it was this sense of happiness and satisfaction. And, mind that, that the world went blank was in the middle of 42nd Street in Manhattan, during the, rush hour. I mean, Krishna Archana also live in New York. If you visit New York, it's 24 hours, rivers of people. But when you're in the peak hours, forget about it. It's like a flood, like that. So it's all these things happening. And then all of a sudden, everything went blank. But it lasted for just a moment, because it was such a unique experience for me that I went like, and then when I started to say, oh my God, so let me, I want more of this, then it went off. So I tell my spiritual master, and he says this, our Guru Maharaj. He says that, well, imagine that feeling 24/7. That's, pure devotional service. So Krishna just gives you a taste of pure devotional service, So if you're capable to taste that, then you have the capability to. So imagine that 24/7, like that. So yes, we just have to go on with this whole anartha nivriti business, and apply ourselves. Anyone else? Krishna Archana?
So the residents of Vidarbha, they were drinking in the beauty of Krishna, as that metaphor was there of, in the same way that you might cup your hands to take in some liquid, their eyes were acting like the cups drinking in the liquid of the beauty of Krishna. So, and at the same time, you were describing that there's that stage in devotion that's complete steadiness, that the visual, you could say, of Krishna, perhaps even the deity of Krishna that one's worshipping, is permanently in the heart. So that's actually what one's seeing internally, constantly. So I can't imagine that that's present and at the same time externally you're seeing Krishna. It seems very unusual to have to try to synchronize both in one sense. So of course I don't know, it's not that the residents of Vidarbha are described as having that been in that internal state of devotion, but just the external view of Krishna. But were it to be the case that both are present, it must be a little bit startling.
Well, the description is that, is this part of the our eternal relationship with Krishna becomes, have these two aspects we talked about before, the service in union and service in separation, Sambhoga and Vipralamba. So when you are in union, then you're experiencing, you're taking Krishna in with your senses, with all your, with your spiritual senses, and it's an ocean of ecstasy, pools of, you're in the pool of ecstasy. And when Krishna is not there, or is not physically present, then it's from within the heart, it's internal, it's in separation. In separation, the experience of ecstasy even more intense is explained. So, so that's when the manifestation within the heart and the whole narration, one of the big examples of that is the gopis, when Krishna goes with the cowherd boys into the fields with the calf or the cows. Just that period of time that Krishna goes and they're not seeing Krishna, they become so maddened by the separation and mindful. It's just like, it's just Krishna be back in the afternoon, But the whole thing is about meditations of Krishna from within the heart. So meaning that Krishna is constantly in their meditation, either by union or by in union or in separation. Is constantly present, and that's how that's the 24/7 type of thing, That it doesn't matter. You're always in the space of Ananda. So it's quite something. I mean, it's a little bit beyond our comprehension at this moment to most of us, So, but we do have that we have that higher taste. That's for sure. It's always very nice to hear, the devotees' experience. Like Lochan, you share, you go on and go. Lochan time, sorry, he was absorbing, offering, the incense. Like that. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Anyone else? Good? Okay. Thank you so much.